So, since I have your undivided attention, I am Mr. Bowers. I am the art teacher, the crazy person with all the supplies. One. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, this is actually two things. This is actually a transfer, but it's also a reference. So after I'm done drawing this thing down, I will do my drawing based upon what I have here. This is graphite paper or carbon paper. It's very old school. And what we do, you can see it has kind of a gray side. It has a shiny black side. The shiny black side always goes down, so we can make sure. Okay. Now, one thing about these, hang on a second, I gotta grab one other thing. This is also disappointing because I always have things. I think I always have them. Because this paper kind of moves, I'm gonna take this right here. I'm gonna take this down a little bit so she doesn't move. Paper's kind of thick. And anytime these drawings sit around, they curl up on the edges. This way. Let me do this, redo this here. So did you ask to be in the art program, or did you or did they say, hey, here you go, you're going to be in it?
No, I switched and that's what I thought.
So you switched. Awesome. Okay, so this makes it even more fun because I get to show you how we do it in the real world. And to give you my background, I am a professional artist. I've been doing it for 40 years. And but for 40 years, I've also been saying that, you know, what in the realm of art classes and stuff like that, they've never really treated you students as potential professionals, which means you're not really getting good instruction that if you wanted to do something with this in real life, most people don't even see a purpose in it. Like I said, I've been making my living off of doing this for the past 40 years, so you can make a living. It just takes a little work, like everything else. Celestine, what grade are you in? Ninth. Oh, cool. So I may have you for a few years. So I can have, by the time we're done, we can have you in galleries and showing and all sorts of things if you wanted. No? Yes? Maybe? Anyway, so let me start. I'm just going to use a ballpoint pen. Basically, they're the little bit. So how we transfer this stuff down. So we're using this as a transfer. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with a pen. I'm just going to press. Now, we don't want to just draw a line where we see it. We want to put a particular attention to the shape of things, also how we put things down. And so the first time you see this, it's like, okay, well, I can do that. And then you do it, and the lines are really graphic, really straight, and then it makes the picture look a little false. So I always teach people just use what I call squiggly lines. And we're going to use a little bit of we're going to use rotating line in order to make that happen. Do you know what a rotating line is?
No.
A rotating line is a squiggly line. And all it does is it brings attention to that specific area, and it also brings things closer. The more squiggly the line, the larger the squiggly line, the closer things appear. The less squiggly line, the further away the less squiggly line or the less rotation, the further things feel like they look. It's an illusion type thing, but it is a tool we use as artists to help us take a one-dimensional piece of paper and make it look three-dimensional. Okay. And I've actually got a YouTube channel that shows all this stuff. So, and I'm working on some filming techniques where I can get a better image. So what you're seeing me doing here would be an up close, and then I also have we'll have a second camera to where when you're looking, it'll show the whole thing, because there's certain things we do with the pen, but there's also certain things we do with our head and our eyes that I want to capture so you guys can get an idea that it's how to make a real accurate drawing or a real accurate painting type thing. And I've done, and you know, if you have any questions, just please ask, because I've done these so many times. Oh, I didn't even notice that before. That, you know, I've got to slow down a little bit. So then when you guys were talking, that I can answer the questions properly instead of saying, what do you mean? I just showed you. So you can kind of see how I'm doing this, just tracing it down, right? No? Maybe? Are you having your coffee this morning? Oh, that is behind her. Now, because this image was so curled, I had to tape down the edges, or I'll show you a way that I make sure my drawing's accurate, or that I got everything in there. Because even myself, I've done drawings where I thought I got everything down there, or I got everything on the paper, and it's not all there. So there's a way of checking on this to make sure that you got everything that you want. And all I'm putting in, and anything on here is detail. Everything on the drawing is detail. Everything on the reference is detail. So when I say, or information. So when I'm talking about drawing things, I always talk about information, and that's what it is. So the eyes right here, they're not eyes, they're just information. Details are information. So like right here, if I was going to do the shadow right here, I just want to get as much information as possible. So when I do the drawing will be accurate. And in the very beginning, I don't care if we see lines here or not. I just want to make sure that you're getting the information down. So when you do the work, that you're able to actually see. So have you taken an art class before, Celestina?
No.
Okay. So this would be your first, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So have you been in the school yet?
Yes.
Have you been by the art room?
Yes.
Have you seen all the drawings on the wall outside?
No.
What the? Oh, that's so sad. Well, there's a whole bunch of drawings in the hallway that I and the students have done, and it just shows some really, really strong abilities. Now, one thing I also want to kind of straighten out is a lot of people think that doing painting or drawing is a talent. No, it's actually a skill. It's a skill we all have in us. Some people just have it more than others. It doesn't make it doesn't make the person doing it any less special, or the people not doing it any less special. But it is a skill that everybody can learn. And like right here, you could trace this down, couldn't you?
I think so.
Have you done any tracing?
Yes.
Then you could trace it down, right?
Yes.
Okay. The I think so's, they don't work in this case, because you're talking to the wrong person for that. Because we do. There is no try. We just do it. And as we're doing this, we learn a lot of stuff about ourselves, because we're learning new things that we didn't think we could do before. So, and it looks really funny when you got the image down. So let me, I'll keep working and talking at the same time. So this will help. So, just trust me, you're not supposed to see everything here. And all I'm doing is I'm just kind of putting in all these lines, all this detail, all this information. So when I get to the drawing part, now what's happening is whenever I do a line, it's actually transferring down onto the paper. So, And she's really got a strong jaw, so there you go. So do you have a famous person that you really like?
Not sure.
Well, I mean, okay, an actor, an actress, singer, a basketball player, football player, anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the person that I would want you to kind of work with as you're doing this, because you're going to care about them. You're going to want to do. Is it a male or female person?
I think male.
So you don't know if is your famous person is male or female.
Well, I don't know what person exactly.
Okay, so that's something I want you to think about, because there's always people in fiction and science fiction, and I mean, look at Wonder Woman. Okay, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. You know, some people really they have this idea that that's their heroes. We all have heroes. Do they always live up to our standards? Who knows? So all I'm doing right now is, like I said, I'm just still drawing down all this information, okay? And there's certain about, like there's this little bead of light that's reflecting off. This is an aviator's hat she's got on. You ever see those?
No.
Yeah, this is like the 40s and 30s. This is before big commercial jets. This is before a lot of the Air Force had airplanes. So this is when you know airplanes first really became commercial. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you had your breakfast yet?
No.
Well, that's not good. You sound like you need your breakfast. Okay. You know, they do serve breakfast here at school. Okay. So I'm coming to the end of this drawing here. And then I'll show you how we put the lettering on there. So this is kind of a, and you can see how fast I'm doing this. So the more time you spend with it, you know, you're going to get accurate, but the object of the game is not really it's not really about this person here. It's not about how famous they are or where they come from or anything else like that. It's more about just understanding values. And values in the art world are, you know, they're not, values in the art world are basically different shades of gray. So you may have a really light part here, that's a value. This is a value. This is a value. This is a value. This is a value. So we always, as artists, we don't look at imagery as the image. We look at it as just, you know, planes, values, color, all these things. But we can't work in color till we understand this part. And this part's probably more, you know, kind of some of the more important part. Once we understand this, then it's actually easier to paint. It's easier to do everything, because the same philosophy holds true in painting as it does in everything else, if that makes any sense. And Celestine, if you've got any questions, just please ask, because I don't like hearing myself talk all the time, you know. So when did you start? Is this your first year here?
Yes.
Yeah. So far, who's been your favorite class? Or do you have one? What's that?
I'm not sure.
Well, everybody seems to like Mr. Newley an awful lot. He's a nice guy. He's the English teacher. Have you been in Mr. Thomas's class yet?
And Thomas here.
Yeah. What do you think of him? He's a big guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like really tall. Are you into sports?
Not really.
Not really. So what's your favorite pastime? And please don't say sleeping, because that's not a pastime. What do you like doing for fun? Being very quiet. Is that what you like doing for fun?
No.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull this because I want to check on my drawing to see if I got everything down. Now, I don't usually have to tape this down like this, but you can see where that's curling back on itself. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull that tape because I don't like it. Okay. And I'm going to take off my... So what you're going to see here, I'm going to hold this up to the screen because you probably won't be able to see it. Okay. Okay. So that's the drawing. There's the image. Now how do I know if I've got it right? Well, what I'm going to do is I just flip it back and forth really fast, and if I'm looking here at the eye, that's the only place I'm going to look. So if you can see that, did I get everything?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, look at that eye again. I think I missed a couple things. And so you can also like the mouth. I mean, you can kind of see, because this lines up exactly with your drawing, you can kind of see by doing that, it allows you to check on what you're missing. Okay. And so typically what I'll do is I'll sit here like this. I just want to make, oh, maybe I did. I thought I might have missed something. But the way the eye is here, it's really strange. The eyeball kind of goes kind of kitty-wampus a little bit. So, but I am going to go through here and just kind of look and see what I got. Okay. If I feel like I missed something, I'm just going to go ahead and add it in. There we go. So anything I've missed, I can kind of just go through, add it in. So I never pull up the transfer until I know I've got everything where I want it to be. Okay. Now this is also the same way I do my formal work. My formal work that goes into galleries, all that kind of stuff. So I'm what they call a studio painter. Studio painters that paint somebody who doesn't go out in the field, doesn't paint out in the wild, actually stays in the studio where it's nice and warm and got TV and coffee and air conditioning in the summer. So if you were gonna paint, would you like to paint outside or would you paint inside?
Inside.
Ah, Okay, 20 minutes, we're good. Okay. Yeah, it would be a little nicer, right? Okay, so I'm gonna look here a second, and I might just do this. So you can see this right here, it's not necessarily about drawing it freehand, is it? No, maybe. I'm waiting. Okay, well, this makes it easier so you can get the image down. Okay, so say I've got my drawing done. I like it, but I want to add some lettering to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lettering, and you said Goddess of the Sky. Now I can kind of see my drawing through here. Now the problem I'm going to have is when I'm looking at my drawing, I'm going to cut off the head a little bit, and I'll put this. Now this will be done in red lettering on the image. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say placement, because I'm looking at, okay, this actually goes up in the dark, so I'll probably wind up not doing any this color up here. What I will do is I'll do the lettering there. So again, I just tape that down. So you can see placement is everything. So if I do this here, and I'll show you with the mat board, this is the opening for the mat board. So if I come in here, I'm going to get most of the image in there with her in it. I'm going to lose a little bit, I'm going to lose a little bit off the sides, but I don't think that's necessarily going to look bad. I can also come up, get more of the hat type thing. So what's going to determine my placement of the mat board, and this is also what we do, we use this to kind of do placement, and then what we do is we put it in a frame and hang it outside the classroom. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab a sheet of carbon. Now the opposite of the game is get these really straight. Now typically there's a little ruler that you have that what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ruler to make sure that my lettering goes on here the way I want. So if you notice, this letter type has some straight edges. So you just line up your ruler and yes, this is how they do it in the real world too. But we've gotten away from this because we've been into printing for so long. And the object of the game is to try to make the lettering as tight as possible, or basically straight as possible. I'm going to come in here. I want to do as much with the ruler as humanly possible, because those curved lines are not going to be easy to do. So you take your time with this. And your line, you might get a mislined off. That's not a problem. The more you do this, the better you get, of course. So that's what I want you to keep in mind, is that, if you do one of these, I don't want you to have an opinion of it. I don't want you to think about it. All I want you to think about is, did I answer the question? What is the question? The question would be all about values, and that's it. If you do a really bad drawing, then I go through it and we look at it and we find what's good about it, what's bad about it. And bad not meaning bad, just means things we got to work on. So again, I'm going to go through here. I want to do everything I possibly can with this ruler, because by the time I get done, I'm going to be really moving this thing around. So any straight lines I can. Come in here. So I think this part is kind of self-explanatory. You kind of got that part? Yes, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. So with this, if I'm going to draw this part of the letters, I want to turn away from my hand. If you're right-handed, it'd be turned the other way. I'm left-handed. So I'm going to come in here. And I only want to do the arches and curves that go along with that. If I try to do this, I might go off. So basically everything out here like so. So here, I'm going to come up. And I want to go really slow because I want it really nice and straight. So if you're really good and you got a steady hand, then this works out really well. Because some of these drawings will look really cool with everything you've done. Now again, how do I check? Okay, now Celestina, how do I check to make sure all my lines are right? What would I do?
Flip it back and forth.
Yeah, so it kind of gives me the idea if I've got all my stuff. Now, do I want to just take this off and look, or do I want to leave it taped down?
Tape.
And that just keeps it in place, doesn't it? So if I have to do any more work, it's taped exactly where I want it to be. I don't have to fight with it or anything like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what do you think would happen if I made a mistake? What do you think I should do if I make a mistake? You're not very helpful. Okay, so shall we see if I got it all down? So I'm going to lift this, pull it off. I'm going to look at, okay, see there's certain parts I missed. Okay, the G is missing, hang on a second here. The G is missing some straight lines. It's missing here, 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 and here. Okay, the OD is okay. The over here needs a little bit. And I think this. So this really does help when you're trying to make sure you got everything. Okay, so I'm going to do this, even with my lettering. Okay, I missed a whole bunch up here. Okay, somewhere along the line I forgot that these things have top parts. Hey, why didn't you say something? Okay, the same with these guys here. Okay. Now, part of being an artist is also doing things that make it look interesting. You don't always want to have your work being boring. So I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to take a look. I got this pretty good. Okay. So then all that hard work if I've done my job right, will look really kind of cool. Okay, so first I'm going to do, I got my lettering down. I'm going to go ahead and pull that down, off. Then, if I'm still okay with my transfer, which is this, I can pull this. So here's the image. So what do you think?
It looks good.
It's kind of interesting, right? So when you see Goddess of the Air, what does that say to you?
Like that she's
She's special?
She'll be known. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
She'll be known.
okay, so if you were going to come up with a saying for something like this, say a really famous person that you know, well, give me a person that you know that's famous. Oh, and when I'm done, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up. I want to be real careful not to tear my paper. And now, when I'm done with this is no longer a transfer. This becomes a reference because I'm going to look at it and draw from the same point. But that'll be for another video here, just really quick. So I'm going to go from one point to the next, okay? Hold on.